Welcome back to the Fenway Focus. This is episode 47 of the Fenway Focus. My name is Derek. I'm here with Jason, as always, and we have a fun one. We are going to be projecting the Red Sox opening day rosters. Spring training games have just begun, so we're going to kind of get into it. We don't want to waste too much time. We're aiming for, hopefully this is going to be a nice, quick 30-minute episode. Not too long, nice, short, and sweet for you guys. But first things first, Jason, how are you doing?
Doing great. Spring training is underway. I'm excited.
Definitely. Let's just jump straight into this. I'm excited for this. Let's start with starting lineups. I'll actually go first. This is kind of my idea. I actually thought of about like an hour and a half ago, maybe, prior to this recording. So we're kind of doing this on the spot. So we'll kind of go through starting lineups. We're not going to necessarily do a batting order or whatever, but we'll just go position. So for me, my starting catcher, I have Connor Wong. I have Casas at first. I have Bregman at second. I have Story at short, and I have Devers at third. My outfield, I have Duran, Rafaela, and Abreu. And then I have Masataka Yoshida at DH. The only asterisk I kind of have is Yoshida and Abreu with their health, how that's going to sort out. And then even a little bit on Devers, because if the shoulders aren't totally ready, he might have to DH at the start of the season. But for me, that's what I'm going with. And I'll just quickly hit on kind of a couple key pieces for me. Trevor Story needs to be healthy for the Red Sox this year. Elite defensive shortstop, only played 26 games last year. Just had a 101 weighted runs created plus last year, was good down the stretch when he came back from injury. I think Cedar Rafaela, we've seen a little bit of swing changes heading into spring training. We know the defense he can bring. He had 12 defensive runs saved in center field last year, 5 outs above average, showed the cannon of an arm he's got as well in spring training already. He played 87 of his games in center field. He played 152 games total last year. I expect a lot more of those games this year for him to come in center field. And for him, it's also to work on the chase rate. Don't chase as much. He does have some nice power in there, but he's got to make solid contact with the ball for it to come out. The chase rate kind of hurts that because his bat-to-ball skills are so good. And then lastly, for me, I will just bring up Alex Bregman just because of the crazy debut he had. He's going to be a big piece, especially if he does get slotted in at second base like I have him. Jason, who do you have as your starting nine? You can just go position by position.
Position by position, catcher, I have Wong. First base, Casas. Second base, I have Christian Campbell. Shortstop, Story. Third base, I have Bregman. I'll get into reasoning later. Left to right, left field is Duran, center, Rafaela, right field, Abreu. I think with Yoshida being out, that opens the DH spot. How are they going to utilize the DH? I'm going to put Devers. I think they'll put Devers there. I don't think necessarily he's going to be the full-time DH, but I think at least to start the season, he will be DH. And then I think we'll see in maybe mid-April, late April, early May, we see Yoshida kind of come in. You worry about it when you have to worry about it. And then Christian Campbell, obviously, I think if he continues to have a good spring, sure. And then you said Abreu. Abreu has his own like sickness, whatever it is. If he doesn't start, here's the easy solution. You put Campbell in the outfield, and then you put maybe a Von Grissom at second. What?
Acknowledge him.
Oh.
Put Roman. You're putting Roman. I think you put Roman Anthony in at that point. In all honesty,
But I think
you say
they want to
screw it.
see where they are. But I truly think like if Campbell has a good spring training, I think they might want to keep Anthony in the minor leagues for a little while. But
Definitely,
I think assuming if Abreu is hurt, then I think you do see a Christian Campbell go to a right field or a left field. It depends.
Yeah,
But
I think the only
really
issue with that is I don't know how much outfield time he's going to get in the spring. That's the only concern I have. It feels like they're very much looking at him saying, hey, no, you're playing second base this spring. We want you to play second base, and that's very interesting. They have a ton of belief in him, which, I mean, why wouldn't they, considering the year he had last year? I do want to ask, though, the whole Bregman-Devers situation. You have, obviously, Bregman sliding in at third and Devers going to DH, at least at the start of the year. How do you feel about that? How do you think that would play out? Do you think it would be beneficial to the team?
So, I don't know if you saw this today, but Jeff Passan today on ESPN, he had a great article. He basically stated that if Campbell... Yeah, it was a really good article. But basically, one of the biggest parts that stuck out to me, if Campbell wins the second base job, then Bregman will probably be at third, and then Devers will be a DH because the Red Sox feel that, winning the job, it's do what's best for the team, and it's worth the potential drama that it might stir. So in terms of that, I mean, it's something that's got to play out, and I think it will play itself out. I'm not sure how it will, but I think you will see some. I think you'll see a lot of Bregman at third this year. I don't know.
Definitely. I do want to ask, so you're projecting Masataka Yoshida to start the season on the injured list, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to double check that. I don't have him starting the year on the injured list, but because I know he does want to be ready for opening day, so I didn't want to. And Willier too is a concern.
He hasn't even started baseball activities yet.
Exactly, so that's a concern.
I think right now I'm fine.
I'm fine for now, but it's gonna get
if this lingers on for another week or so, give it till March. Give it till March, yes. And if he still doesn't have baseball activities, then we're gonna start work. Then you can start to say, okay, Roman Anthony has a really good shot at making the roster.
Yes.
All these other people I do think if Vaughn Grissom does have the spring training that he wanted to have last season, I do think you could see him at second base too. I know Christian, like we just said, it makes things interesting. But if they see Abreu and Abreu's like, yeah, I'm not going to be ready, they could say, hey, go get some reps in the outfield, Christian. Like, go get some reps in the outfield. Grissom, play some second base.
Yeah,
because right now he's kind of logjam. You want to talk about the bench?
Yeah, I just real quickly hit on too the fact that the Red Sox do want Yoshida to play a little bit of outfield this year, which is interesting. I'll just kind of throw that little nugget in there as well. Not all the time, but a little bit. We'll see how much that actually happens, though. I'll move on to that. Start with the bench. I have at my backup catcher, I have Carlos Narvaez. I feel like that one's kind of obvious, although Blake Sable and Sebi Zavala are options. Zavala, obviously, I'm a non-roster invite, but I think it's clear it's going to be Narvaez. I have David Hamilton and Romy Gonzalez as kind of bench infielders, and then Rob Refsnyder as that big platoon lefty outfield bat that can kind of it seems like he's going to be in a platoon with Willier again. I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. And so that's kind of how my outfield. And I just want to key in on Refsnyder a little bit just because last year at a 130 weighted runs created plus. Obviously, the defense with him, like it's a big drop off from a Willier. But if you're facing a lefty and you're the Red Sox and you're middle of the lineup, your right-handed hitters, you have Story, you have Bregman, and now you also add in Refsnyder into that mix. We'll see how Rafaela looks this year, and maybe even Christian Campbell, depending on the circumstances. Like that starts to get scary for a lefty pitcher, right? So I think, and even Connor Wong too behind the plate, right? So the right-hand situation, Bregman helps it a lot, but even Refsnyder being in there, that's a big help for this team. That, let's be honest, you're definitely your two best hitters, arguably even your three best hitters are all left-handed hitters.
Yeah.
What do you have for your bench, Jason?
So my bench currently right now is the same as yours. Narvaez, Refsnyder, Hamilton, and Gonzalez. The only reason I have Gonzalez over Vaughn Grissom is Gonzalez is your backup first baseman right now. Hamilton is your middle infielder. Like, yeah, he should be playing second base, pinch runner. Shortstop.
Get a little bit of outfield even too with Hamilton.
They're giving him reps in the outfield. And Refsnyder's a good fourth outfielder, like you mentioned. And then Narvaez, the backup catcher. They don't really have too much depth now that Teal's gone, because Teal was supposed to be the guy to come in this spring training and give the backup catcher a run for their money. But I don't know. We'll see. I think who's next in line? Sebi Zavala, Mark Colesbury. Yeah. Like, I don't think they'll make it over Narvaez.
No, Blake
Narvaez
Sable.
is already on the roster. Or Blake's.
Yeah, it's Sable.
But even then, I don't know. No. He's on the 40 man, but I see Narvaez. Narvaez's framing is so good.
Yeah,
I think compared to Blake, I haven't seen Sable's stats yet, but I know Narvaez was kind of known for his framing below the zone. I mean, we talk about this all the time in our show, how the Red Sox view framing below the zone as some of the best framing you can get on a team. So,
yeah. Another thing too, I do want to talk a little bit about David Hamilton too, just because he had a 1.7 F4 last year. Only 92 weighted runs created plus, but I think the big value came from once he did switch over to second base defensively. He had a really good, I think it was July, was it? What month was it? Was really good? I don't remember. He had like a really good month at one point as well. I think he's gonna be interesting. Supposedly bulked up a lot, so that I think that's gonna be a really interesting one, as well. Um, let's move on to the pitching side of things. There are a lot of options on my notes. Actually, I have for starting pitchers. I have like 12 names written down. Now, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I also wrote down like Penrod and Sandoval, who are both injured list guys, right? And Sandoval's gonna
This
be
is
out till
hard.
like mid
This is
season.
hard because you don't know the injuries. Like Cutter Crawford's
Exactly, and
probably going to
Cutter
start the year on
Crawford's
the IL.
available.
Bayo, we don't
Mm-hmm.
really know. He just got
Don't know.
cleared. I think Smith just reported he just got cleared. Let me double check that. But I think it's interesting nonetheless because it's so contingent on are these.
Health.
Oh no, it was Yoshi. Oh yeah, Yoshida was just cleared to hit live
Cleared.
BP. That was not
Yeah.
Bayo, but
But
Bayo's
even
still
with
kind of
Bayo, though,
behind.
it's contingent on health. We're trying to play the guessing game to the best of our abilities. Jason, do you want to take the starters first, and kind of what's your starting rotation?
So real quick. They also said Giolito's on his own pitching program. So I think one of them is a lot. One between Bayo and Giolito. I think one of them make the opening day roster. So right now my rotation: Crochet, Houck, Bueller, and then I'm gonna assume Bayo. I'm just gonna assume Bayo makes it, and then for my fifth starter, I have Quinn Priester. Just because we saw last year the trade for Nick York 1-for-1,
yes.
Trading depth for pitching. I mean, Breslow said it last year at the deadline, and they really got someone who they value. They traded for him for a reason. He looked really good in his last start last year in the bigs. I mean, with Boston, he pitched 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 2, whatever. I liked what I saw out of him. I think if he has a really good spring, sure, he's, I think, the candidate to get it. I mean, there are also other guys like Richard Fitz, even Hunter Dobbins, maybe even because he's on the 40-man. But I think out of Fitz and Dobbins and Priester, I think Priester's more likely, just because given the major league experience. I know Fitz had a really good start to the season, or start when he was called up in his 4 games. But however, he had a 1.74 ERA, should be noted, 3.31 FIP.
Yes,
and almost a 1.3 WHIP. So
yeah, it's definitely a no. For me, I have Crochet, Houck, Bueller, Bayo, and Giolito. I'm banking on Bayo being ready. I think Giolito's more likely at this point, actually. I will add in, though, if one of them's out, I kind of think the guy they're going to go to is Cooper Criswell, just for the fact he's only got one option left, right? And I know it's like, yes, you could still burn that option, but like in a hypothetical world, Criswell, once your starters are healthy, he could even like transition to like a long man in the bullpen, right? I'm not saying it's necessary.
Real quick.
I'm not saying it's gonna.
A lot of them are going to be stretched out to be starters. Like how long until they say this guy's going to be of value to our team? The starting rotation's full. We don't want to go with a 6-man. Let's stick him in the back and the front and the bullpen and have him be a long relief pitcher. Like at what point do they do that? There's got to be. It's going to be a matter of time.
And that's the thing. The thing with Criswell is too, like, we know he can kind of be that kind of long reliever, eat up innings in the bullpen, and I still think that has a little bit of value. Not a ton, but a little bit, right? Especially if your starter only goes a couple innings, gets kind of hit around. You need someone to eat innings in that bullpen, and as of right now, I'm looking at my current bullpen list. There's not really anyone there that can do that. Maybe Whitlock, but I think they're trying to. They would say that for high leverage situations where he'd go multiple innings, not a mop up situation. So I think in that case, I feel like Criswell for me is kind of like the one. He's only got one option, so if they could hypothetically, right, if he starts the year as a starter in place of an injured Bayo per se, right, they maybe move him to a long reliever role, and then he kind of sticks there the rest of the year. Then he could even stick around for next season, right? So I'm not saying that it's going to happen like that, but as of now, I'm kind of like in that hypothetical, like maybe they don't have to burn the option on Criswell this year. Maybe you stick him as your long reliever, he's your long reliever, and then he's around his depth in 2026, right? I know Cooper Criswell might not love that idea, but like,
that's do what's best for the team.
Exactly, and I think that's what I have. I'll just do.
It seems like everyone's getting that memo, but Rafael Devers.
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, I think we should also touch too. it's been a while since Giolito has pitched at his best. It was early 2023. And you can maybe that's his best, maybe not, but like at least if you get like early 23 Giolito, like before all the crap happened with his personal life and he got traded to the Angels. Before that, that's like that. The Red Sox, I think, would take that from Giolito. That's a solid starter. And then Buehler, obviously, the big postseason last year for the Dodgers, struggled in the regular season though. ERA and FIP both over 5. I think that'll be interesting to see how he looks because now he's in that second season post that Tommy John got, right?
Yes.
I'm not losing my mind. Yeah, it was Tommy John.
No, wait, for Giolito?
No, for Buehler.
Buehler was Tommy John.
Tommy John, yeah, that's what I thought. Giolito was internal brace. I know
Giolito was internal. Yeah, it was internal.
And then another thing, at this point, just make Garrett Crochet the opening day starter. I don't care. Sorry, Tanner Houck, love you, but like, just do Crochet. Just do it. Give it to us. Next up, bullpen. This one's interesting because there's a ton of options.
This is hard. This is really hard.
And there's a lot of non-roster options as well, so that's extremely interesting. Jason, who do you have as your kind of bullpen options? We got eight bullpen spots. Who do you have? You can go. You don't have to name like a closer or anything either. Just name your 8.
Yeah, this is extremely hard because half of me wants to put 2 non-rosters on this pitching staff, but at the same time, I got to look at a realistic lens that says, "Oh crap! Like, why would the Red Sox just put someone else on the roster if they can get some sort of equal?" If they get a similar result to someone already on the 40-man roster. So with that being said, here's what I got. And I don't have a long relief pitcher per se, but I think they'll figure it out. So here's who I have as my 8 bullpen arms. I have Hendricks, Justin Slayton, Aroldis Chapman, Luis Guerrero, Garrett Whitlock. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I have Justin Wilson, Adam Ottavino, and for my last spot, I have Zach Kelly. As much as I really want to say Austin Adams or Greg Weissert, or not Greg Weissert, but Josh Winkowski, as much as I want to give it those guys, I think Kelly, mainly more over Austin Adams. Like, Austin Adams had a really good season last year, right? Like 3.
He's also a
ERA sub 4. That too. He had 3 in 56 games. He had a 3.92 ERA. Again, it's one of those. Let's see. He had a 4.47 FIP and a WHIP of almost 1.5. That's not great. Also, doesn't really. Actually, he does strike a good amount of people out, but
it's not great, but it's serviceable.
It's serviceable, and for a guy on a minor league deal, it's cool. But at the same time, you look at a guy like Zach Kelly, who you don't put him in a high leverage situation, you know what you're going to get out of him. The talent's there. It's just he was really bad because they needed to use him in a freaking mop up role. Like, he was the freaking number 2 guy behind Kenley Jansen, right? Like, he was getting a high leverage time. I mean, that goes to show, they lost 2 guys and they're scrambling for people. I think, like I said, when Breslow said we're not done after Bregman, they immediately pivoted Ottavino. Ottavino makes so much sense because he's given a minor league deal with a $2 million bonus if he makes the team off of spring training. I think he'll make the team. I think he just needs to look serviceable, and I think if I had to do a long relief pitcher, it might be Winkowski, but I don't think he's going to make the team. I really don't. I don't see it, really.
Yeah.
I pretty much Justin Slayton do that? If Whitlock goes into the role he was in 2021 and the early parts of 22, can Slayton then go into that role as kind of a longer relief pitcher? I don't think he needs to, but it's interesting nonetheless.
No. I pretty much have the same guys as you, in all honesty. I only have one difference. I have Liam Hendricks, Justin Slayton, Aroldis Chapman, Garrett Whitlock, Luis Guerrero, Justin Wilson, Adam Ottavino, and I did go with Austin Adams. For me, I think that there's a chance even maybe a Penrod gets put on the 60-day, or even maybe Chris Murphy. I don't know about Murphy. I feel like both of them would probably be a little bit of stretches for the 60-day, but I don't think it's totally unreasonable. Patrick Sandoval's already on the 60-day, right? I mean, not the
Yeah.
60-day, the 60. This yeah, no, sorry, the
Yeah, the
60-day
60-day.
injured list. So I
There
don't
are
think
other
it's
guys,
totally
like you said, you can put
unreasonable.
there.
Yeah, and like here's the thing too, like they don't really have like you can make the argument they don't really have DFA candidates per se, but like I know like they don't really have catching depth, but like that's the point. Like you could also I think like Sable could be like a DFA candidate just in the sense of like he doesn't make the roster. Like you do have Zavala on a minor league deal. You could like if the worst thing comes to worst, you could always like call up some team and like get their
Sable's going to
AAA
be in the
catcher
minor
or
league.
something.
He's going to be what Heineman was last year. Sorry to interrupt. He's
Yeah,
going to
or
be
like
that. He's going to play that role. I just don't see it.
the third. I don't, but like they could just use Zavala, right? In some ways, right? That could be an option if you're looking for like a easier DFA candidate. Like as of right now, there's a ton of like other like great option. Bernardino's also interesting because I don't know what his health situation is. So that kind of gets interesting there. With Bernardino, I know Sox Prospects has him on the inactive pitchers list, which is interesting.
And I think you can also see a guy like a Nick Sogard, unfortunately DFA, just because they have a
That-
Vaughn Grissom in the minor leagues.
Exactly.
They have other guys they can use. Like it's just unfortunate for that. Like they have already a lot of infielders.
Yeah, exactly, right. So they definitely could find those spots on the 40-man, I think, if they really needed to. And like I said, it could be like a Murphy or Penrod even going on the 60-day.
Yeah.
I think that one of those, or not even both of those, could be opportunities. So I think Ottavino too had like not a great year last year, but like if you're looking in middle relief back, like I'm not saying back end, middle relief, like front end of the bullpen kind of reliever, that's fine. Austin Adams, I feel like you kind of need a lunatic in your bullpen if you want to be a good team.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, Joe Kelly in 2018, right? Like,
well,
kind of gotta have a lunatic.
Here's the other thing. There's an argument to be made that says Austin Adams isn't the next in line.
Exactly.
Right? You have other guys who are on non-roster invites. Yeah, they just signed Matt Moore, right?
Yep.
They just signed what's his face? Oh my god, what's his name? Well, they also have Fulmer. That's interesting.
Yep.
Isaiah
Fulmer is on a minor.
He's going to be probably a starter.
Right? That seems interesting.
Did they say he's stretching out as a starter? Whatever.
They'd said that at the start of the offseason, but there hasn't really been any update on that, so I have no clue.
Yeah, they have like a Giovanni Moran, but I heard it. I think
Giovanni Moran. Yeah, I was gonna put Moran. I don't know what's going on with them, but like, because I haven't heard anything on it. If I had heard anything on him so far in spring training, I think he probably would have made my bullpen over Austin Adams.
Who else falls in that same category? Brian Mata.
Oh my god. No, Brian Mata doesn't even fall in that category. Brian Mata falls in the who the heck knows. All I know he's going to be in AAA. Like, he's not making the big league roster. I love me some Brian Mata when he's healthy, but
and then you even have guys like Wyatt Mills is a very interesting guy. Traded in 2023.
The entire list
John,
I have,
and he looked solid in his spring training out of it.
Let's see. We also have Isaiah Campbell. We also have Robert Stock. There's Sean Newcomb. Bernardino, we mentioned Weissert. Winkowski, Kelly are also options. Penrod, depending on what they do when he comes back from his injury. Like, I could see them putting him back into, like, the bullpen off his injury. Like, I could see that, even though the plan was to stretch him out. Like, it's going to get interesting. But yeah, that's kind of... I think we're both kind of agreeing on the bullpen.
I really don't think...
The last guy in the bullpen doesn't really make that big of a difference.
I don't think Bernardino makes it. I don't know what the deal is with him. I just don't think he makes it.
No clue. I have no clue. But yeah, and the thing is, Justin Wilson is on a big league deal. I think that's kind of is a telltale sign.
Yeah,
you have Chapman or Wilson as your two lefties, and then you have Bernardino, Moran, Moore, depending on what happens with him at the end of spring training, because you never know. Like you have those guys kind of in that mix as well.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
How many wins we thinking? Just throw a number out.
95.
90. Cool. I'm taking. I went 93 and 69. Just for the best.
Because of course you did.
Of course I did. Yeah. All right. Perfect. That's how we're gonna wrap it up. That's our kind of opening day roster predictions for the Red Sox. Opening day isn't that far. A little bit less than a month away. Actually, a month as of Friday. Actually, I think it is.
Yay!
We're almost there. Almost there, baseball fans. So yeah, that's a good place to wrap it up. So for Jason, my name is Derek. As always, this was the Fenway Focus, and we will see you next time.
Go Sox.